Welcome to this video series on SQL Server 2008. This is being brought to you by learningcomputer.com. Today we will be talking about database mail and how to configure it. You can use database mail to essentially do proactive database management, and the best case would be if you're running jobs and you need to be notified on success, failure, or just completion. You could use the database mail. You could also possibly use it to send information from queries or stored procedures to somebody using this. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm running a enterprise eval edition of SQL Server 2008 on Vista Home Premium. So the first thing you need to do is go to Start, All Programs, SQL Server 2008, and then Management Studio. I am running two different instances, so I will connect to my named instance here using my Windows authentication. The database mail is available under the Management tab, so I will expand that, and I have not configured it yet on this instance, so I will right click on database mail and select configure database mail. This will start a wizard which will guide you through setting up mail account and profile, also the mail security and any of the other parameters. I will click next. So when you run this the first time, you have to select setup database mail wizard, database mail by performing the following. For now, I will just click next. In fact, I'm sorry, this is the feature that I was looking for. So it's asking me database mail feature is not available. Would you like to enable this feature? And you want to say yes. And so for my profile, essentially a mail profile is a collection of mail accounts. So for this one, I'm going to call it SQL Agent Profile, because remember, your database mail works with SQL Agent, which is the service responsible for managing jobs and schedules. Description, I will just call it profile. We don't have a SMTP account associated with this, so I will go ahead and click add. And now this would be let's say mail account, and this is where you would define the actual email address that you will use. So for this one, I'm going to use SQL Agent at learningcomputer.com. For the name, you can just call it SQL Agent. Reply email, I will skip. This is where I will need to set up my mail server, and for me this happens to be mail.learningcomputer.com with the port which is typically 25. Mine is using 587. For the username, I had set this up, so this would just be your email and then the actual password. Notice that if you were using a Windows domain, which is actually preferred, you would be using the Windows authentication, and also you can use anonymous. So, but the one that's preferred is Windows authentication. In my case, the web server is actually online, so I am unable to use that here. And I believe that is all I have, so I click OK. So we have done two things. We have created a mail profile up here, and then we have created a mail account that is going to be tied to this profile. I will click next. Now it's asking that do you want this profile to be public or private. I will just we can check that if you want. And I will select yes and then click next. And so these are some of the other settings that you have. It says how many seconds do you want to wait before you retry send the email. I will just leave those as is and click next. And so that should be it. So let's go ahead and do that. Click close. Now if you right click on it, you could do a send test mail. I'm going to send it to another account. And just select yes. So it says your email has been queued for processing. You can click OK. You can also go to the view database mail log and look at the activity. So I will switch back to my webmail and click here to see this would be the true test of if this thing actually worked or not. So looks like it did indeed work. And it came from the named instance. So we have indeed covered database mail. I only have a few minutes here, so I want to show you another feature that if you're putting this in your code, like let's say T-SQL code, how would you send an email? But I may have to cut this short as I'm trying to put this on YouTube, and it has to be within 10 minutes. So let me switch back to Management Studio. And what I have done here is, before I do that, let me show you one more thing. Once you have your database mail configured, and if you want to change some of these settings, you can go to Manage Database Mail Accounts and Profiles. And here is where you can actually modify some of these settings. Maybe you want to change your email address or something to that effect. So that's where you would do that. And also you can change your mail profile also. So I wanted to show you that. You can click on this icon that says new query, and I'm actually going to load up a file that I have already set up. And this uses the system stored procedure called sp send mail. And it says this is the format that I'm going to use. The profile name, actually I think this is not correct, so let me go back and look at my profile, because this has to match what you have in here. So the profile is actually SQL agent profile, so I will change that here. Everything else should be the same. So I changed that. As far as the recipients, that's kashi@learningcomputer.com. Body is where you would give it a specific message, and then subject is where you can put in the email subject. So let's just parse this real quick, and let's go ahead and execute it. Then it says mail is queued, and again you could come back here and look at the log to see if this is working. Let's see. Oh, that just showed us the mail process is started. So let me go back to my email account, and I will still logged into the same place. There you go. So I just received this email, and it says the reindex database process was completed successfully. So that is the nice thing about using database mail, is that you can incorporate this into your